decide if these people are assholes or not. I love this game. Am I the a-hole for considering calling off my wedding because my fiancé refuses to sign a prenup after I found out she has a massive credit card debt? I am just a middle-aged man supposed to be getting married in a few months to my fiancé. We've been together for 3 years, engaged for 1, and for most of that time, I genuinely believed that we were on the same page about life values and, most importantly, honesty. For background, I've worked hard to build a stable financial foundation. I'm not wealthy, but I own my home outright, have no personal debt, and I've been saving and investing since my early 20s. That is considered wealthy to a lot of people. It's been a priority for me, especially since my parents went through a nasty divorce that ruined both of them financially. About a month ago, while we were discussing wedding costs, I brought up a prenup. Not in a cold or controlling way, I just wanted to protect the life that I've worked hard to build. I was upfront that I would still be fair and the agreement wouldn't leave her with nothing. I expected an adult conversation. Instead, she immediately got defensive. She said things like, "So you're already planning for a divorce?" And I thought we trusted each other. I tried to explain it wasn't about trust, it was about transparency and mutual protection. But she shut it down completely. That is when red flags started popping up. She became evasive every time money came up, and I started noticing weird things. Credit card offers in the mail, a few missed payments on shared expenses that she said she would cover, and lots of "I'll handle it later." So I asked directly if she had debt. Wait a second. You're just finding this out now? At this point in your relationship? That's crazy to me. I don't know. I'm not even engaged, and Matt and I know what each other's financial situations are, like to the dollar amount. Maybe not the exact dollar. She admitted it. Oh, damn. Oh, that's a lot of debt. $92,000 in credit card debt. Not student loans, not a mortgage, credit cards. She said it accumulated over the years from unexpected expenses and a few dumb splurges, but she never told me any of it until I forced the issue. I was stunned. We're about to merge lives. This woman was about to legally become my spouse, and she didn't think I deserved to know that she was 6 figures in the red. I told her this made the prenup non-negotiable for me. I need to protect myself, not just emotionally, but financially. I told her I was willing to still move forward, but not without something in writing that protects my premarital assets. She lost it. Called me selfish, said I was turning love into a business deal, said my house and money should be hers too if we're truly a team. Since then, she has refused to talk about the prenup again, and we are barely speaking. Even her mother called me and accused me of humiliating her daughter and being materialistic. All I want is to not be liable for debt I didn't create and to make sure the life I built before this relationship is protected. So now I'm seriously reconsidering the whole wedding. Not because she has debt, but because she hid it, then refused to take responsibility, and now is treating me like the bad guy for trying to protect myself. I am almost certain that she could pay her debts since she is a partner in her friend's business, but she just refuses to. Am I the a-hole for thinking about walking away? Now, we do have a little update on this. But where are your thoughts as of now? Everyone has a different opinion on prenups, and I think a lot of it comes based on your own life experiences. I think they're very situational, but I don't have issues with prenups personally. I have watched divorce in my own life. My mother has been divorced twice, and they do say who you divorce is not who you married in most cases. So I understand. I totally understand where the fear or concern would be coming from, but I think it's very situational for every prenup and every relationship. But let me know your thoughts. So yeah, the wedding is officially off. After I posted, I tried one more time to talk to my fiancé, well, ex now. I told her I wasn't trying to be cold or controlling, I just needed to protect myself. I also said that if the roles were reversed, I would completely understand if she wanted to do the same. I told her I could still move forward with the wedding if we signed a fair prenup. One that clearly said her debt is hers and my home/savings are mine if things go bad. I also said I would go to therapy or counseling with her if this felt like a deeper trust issue. She didn't take it well, said again that the prenup was an insult and I was basically planning for divorce. I understand why a lot of people feel that way when you hear the word prenup. You're like, why are you acting like we're gonna get... No one gets married thinking they're going to get divorced, but guess what? Divorce happens. Then she started crying and said I was humiliating her and that I was destroying everything we had built over money. But that is the thing. It's not just about the money. It's about the fact that she kept a massive amount of debt hidden until she had no choice but to tell me. And even then, she only told me because I pushed for it. That is not partnership, that's avoidance. So I told her I couldn't go through with it. I called off the wedding. It sucked. It still sucks. We told the venue to cancel what we could and let people know. Her family is furious. Mine has been supportive, but trying not to say, I told you so. I've lost a lot of money deposits to suit some family flying in from out of state, but honestly, that is nothing compared to what could have happened if I ignored my gut. She moved out 2 days ago. We've barely spoken. I keep second guessing myself even now. I didn't want this, but I also don't want to wake up one day in financial ruin, wondering why I ignored every red flag just to avoid hurting someone. I feel like there's probably more to this as well. I'm getting the vibe of this wasn't the first red flag, maybe with finances. And I also agree that debt should have never been unknown to your partner. My judgment rules as not the a-hole. I think you did what was best for you. Let me know your thoughts. Am I the a-hole for demanding to check my brother's girlfriend's bags before they leave my house? Did she steal something? A bit of background here. I, 39 female, have a brother, 32 male, who I will call Chase. Chase has been with this girl, 35 female, that I'll call Vivian. Chase and Vivian, I love the name choices. For almost 2 years now. About a month into the relationship, Vivian got pregnant with my nephew, who is now almost a year old. Vivian also has 2 daughters, 5 and 8, from a previous relationship. Her daughters are very close in age to my daughter, who is 7, and up until last weekend, everyone got along fine. They live in a different state than us, but come to visit fairly often and stay with us because we have the extra room. Last weekend, they came to stay again, and about an hour before they left, my daughter noticed that a few of her favorite toys were missing. The children. The girls were playing all weekend, so I didn't think much of it and offered to help her look for them. After about 20 minutes of searching, we could not find the toys anywhere, so I asked Vivian's girls if they remembered where they were playing with them last. The girls said no, but acted a little guilty about it. I asked Chase and Vivian about it, and Chase said he saw the exact toys in the room that Vivian's girls were sleeping in. We went to check, and they were not there. He asked Vivian if she had moved them when she packed the girls' things that morning, and she said that they were not there. We went back into the living room and I saw Vivian's girls huddled close together over a backpack and quickly closed it when they saw that we were there. Oh yeah, they're stealing the toys. Chase asked the girls again if they knew where the toys were, and this time they didn't say anything and just looked at their mom. Chase reached for the bag and Vivian lost it. She started yelling at me, how dare I accuse her daughters of stealing, and she tried to snatch the bag away. Chase opened it and there were the missing toys plus a few more. I was absolutely furious. I told her I wanted to see what else she had and demanded she open the 2 suitcases. She said that was an invasion of privacy and tried to take them and leave. Chase stopped her and made her open them. Lord have mercy. She had taken several tops, a few skirts and dresses, and a brand new pair of Nikes that belonged to my daughter. I took everything back and told her she and the girls were not allowed back into my home. I have since received several texts from her and a few unknown numbers telling me I embarrassed her and upset her girls because they were promised the items. Who promised those items to them? Chase is upset with her but said I was too mean to her in front of everyone and that I could have handled the situation more privately. I do feel awful that her girls left crying, but am I the a-hole for how I handled the situation? Edit to add. Answer to a few questions I keep getting. I am not sure who promised the girls the items. She would not elaborate, but I'm assuming it was her. She wanted me to pull her aside into a different room away from Chase and the kids to talk the situation out. Also, yes, I'm 99% sure the baby is his. He is almost a carbon copy of my brother when he was a baby. I do not believe the girls knew that they were stealing the things. I really believe that their mom told them it was okay. We have never had problems with the girls before this. They really seem to be good kids. Also, I will be talking with my brother tonight or tomorrow to discuss things further. Edit number 2. I will be speaking to my brother in about an hour. I've been in contact with someone that knows her and a lot has come to light. Light it up, baby. I want to hear. Vivian is not at all who she claims to be. I talked to my brother last night and showed him a lot of your comments and suggestions, and thanks to someone in the comments, we now know a lot more about Vivian and the kind of person she really is. I will not be able to tell you everything, but I can tell you that my brother and nephew are now staying with us while he gets a DNA test and proceeds to cut ties with her? What happened? I may have more to give in all the coming days or weeks depending on what paternity test says. Wait, what? How did this turn into that? This is a whole other issue. But anyways, okay, back to am I the a-hole? Do I think sure you could have handled it quieter and like pull her aside? Sure. But I also understand you acted based on what you had just caught and seen and you were in the moment. I don't think you're an a-hole for that. But in the same breath, if there's kids around, yes, I get the correct thing to maybe do would have been to pull the adult aside into another room and not have that conversation in front of the kids. So I think it could be handled better, but I don't know if I would call you an a-hole. I think the a-hole is like the person stealing from you. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Before we move on, I have to show you my new cup. I've been waiting to film to show you guys this. I don't even know if you get the full effect, but it doesn't even show, but it's a neon orange and there's little like air bubbles in it, it looks like. Isn't this so fun? I got it. Well, actually Matt bought it for me at Starbucks and it was 50% off. That's the only reason, because these cups are wildly overpriced. Insane. But for 50% off. Cheers and drink your water. I've been so excited to show you guys this. Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my parents and sister after they cut me off? I had an affair with her husband. There's a lot to unpack here. I had an affair with my sister's husband when I was 16. What do you mean? Yes, I regret it, and I truly am disgusted with my past self. When they found out, my sister publicly shamed me, fair enough, and told my parents, also fair. Wait a second, you were 16? Which means you were underage for however old her husband is. She also told our parents, which was fair, but she chose to stay with her husband, ew, and blamed me for seducing him into being unfaithful. I'ma keep my mouth shut with what I'm about to say. She forgave him and decided to reconcile, but I was left to face the consequences. My parents kicked me out and I had to scramble to find somewhere to live. Every time I found a new job, my parents and sister would contact my coworkers to call me a homewrecker. They would harass me wherever I went, gossiping about my status. While no one treated me differently to my face, the stares and whispers were unbearable. I had to leave the city and move to another just to escape them and for my mental health. Some people might say I'm overreacting, but they really followed me like the plague. I don't agree with what you did. Absolutely disgusting and wrong. However, how is husband getting off like scotch-free from this? what is going on? I moved and met a nice elderly couple who never had kids who took me in, Mark and Helen. And by that, I mean they offered me to stay with them if I wanted to, and they were so nice to me. I had my own place, but I often visited them. To this day, they mean the world to me. They knew what happened, and I once even joked and had said something along the lines of, "Aren't you afraid I'll steal your husband as a homewrecker?" She told me that me being a homewrecker wasn't my entire personality, and to move on and learn from what I did. I eventually met my now husband, and we have 4 children, all adults except for one who is 17. My kids know about my parents and the past situation, and they grew up considering Mark and Helen their grandparents, along with my in-laws. Then, last Saturday, I received a message. This is what it said. I hope you can find it in your heart to read this message. I know we've been through so much pain and hardship, and I want to be honest with you about everything. I deeply regret how things have unfolded between us, especially the hurtful things we said and did in the past, and I am truly sorry for all the pain we have caused you. Our actions have had lasting consequences. We never got to know our grandchildren, and I realize now how much we missed out on. Ex's husband cheated again and left her for someone else. Raise your hand if you're surprised. I see how much she's been suffering. She's now a woman left alone with 2 kids, caring for a disabled child and an autistic child who has it hard too, and trying to carry on despite everything. She has been so strong, but is not strong enough. We are in a difficult situation ourselves, struggling financially. We don't have enough space or resources to help her directly, but we deeply want to support her and her children. I am asking for your forgiveness. I know I and your father don't deserve it, but I hope you can see that we are trying to make amends, even if it's late. If there's any way you can help us with financial support or guidance to assist Serna and her children, you just gave away the name. It would mean the world to us. We want to do right by them and by you. If you're willing to give us that chance, we love you. When I got that message, I was pretty angry. I have not seen my parents in over 10 years, and I'm not willing to see them or even consider helping my sister with her kids. I have not responded yet, but my husband is willing to send her a very harsh letter on behalf of me. We are considering just ignoring them, but would I be an a-hole if I let my husband write a harsh reply? Edit. I got to live with my grandparents after they kicked me out. I'm also 43, if that is not clear. My oldest child is 23, so no, they are not little kids anymore. Thank you all for the support. I came here expecting to get bashed. I think you're an a-hole for what you did to your sister, of course, sure. I don't think you should send a harsh reply, though. I don't think your husband should write a harsh reply. I feel like sometimes we gotta take the high road. You know what I'm saying? Like, take some time to think. If we feel like this is our opportunity to start fresh, start from scratch with the family, up to you. But if not, I feel like it might be better for the door to remain closed. I don't know. It's tricky. What do you guys think? Am I the a-hole for uninviting my mother to my wedding? I, 23 female, I'm getting married to my fiance, 20 female, in October. We've been together for 4 years. My mother has not once had any issues with my fiance. I've always been a mama's girl due to the fact that my father has never had any interest in being part of my life, and most of my family lives in another state. As of right now, the only family member of mine that will be there is my sister. A few months ago, my mother and I helped my sister move here from her hometown, during which my fiance and I were going through some issues. I vented to my mother and my sister about how I felt like my fiance wasn't listening to me. My mother listened to all I had to say before advising that me and my fiance probably just needed to spend some time apart, saying that she thinks we moved in with each other too soon. I took her advice and told my fiance that I would live with my mother for a few weeks just to think some things through. During this time, my mother had convinced me to cut it off with my fiance. Ain't nobody convincing me to do something that I don't want to do. I foolishly listened to her and ended the, at the time, 3-year relationship. That was a choice though. I was devastated. I cried over her so many times and even tried convincing myself it was for the better. During a conversation one day, my mother told me that she's glad that me and my fiance had broken up and that she hopes that we never get back together. My fiance had never done anything bad enough to warrant this, so I found it odd. I had started looking at meeting some new people. Friends mostly, but it went further than that. I met this guy, we'll call him Dale, who was sweet as could be. We chatted and we had a lot in common. My mother convinced me to go on a date with Dale despite me not wanting to. I don't know, this whole convincing thing as a 23-year-old, like, you're an adult. Well, the day of the date comes and I break down panicking. I messaged him and told him I couldn't go on the date and he understood. However, my mother didn't. I cried to her, telling her how I couldn't go on the date and how I still loved my fiance, but she kept telling me that I needed to move on. I called my fiance and asked them to come over. From that day, we started talking more and started going through our issues and fixing them. My mother wasn't happy about this and would occasionally blow up on me and tell me that I need to cut contact with my fiance completely. We didn't, and I soon realized that my mother was the problem. We decided after a few months that we still wanted to get married and decided to go forward with our engagement. My fiance had made a post on Facebook about that and hadn't told me. However, I wasn't too upset about it because it was bound to happen eventually. My mother, on the other hand, found the post and flipped out that I hadn't told her. I told her it was a recent decision and that I didn't need to involve her in every decision I make. A few weeks later, I'm at my fiance's house and I tell her about the nightmares that I had been having and how I was afraid to sleep in my mother's house. She suggested I stay for the night and that everything will be okay. Her and my sister went back to my mother's to grab a few things for me. My mother texted me saying that I'm disrespecting her by needing a night away and some time with my fiance. I told her about how she's treating me like a child, and if this is how she's going to treat me, then I will just move out. So I did. I left and I went to live with my fiance. At the time, I had taken time for myself and was taking time away from her. So when she would message me, I would read them, but not respond unless I had to. After a month or two, I finally started to talk to her again. We talked a little, but not enough for us to really fix our relationship. At one point, I was in a very bad headspace and was trying to vent to my sister about it, but she went to tell my mother. My mother then goes, and calls the police and tells them to do a wellness check on me. When confronted about how I appreciate her concern, but that calling the cops went too far, she blew up on me. She told me that I had no right to tell her what she can and cannot do, and that if she wishes to call the cops for a wellness check, she will. She claims to have sent a message before calling the cops. However, the message said it wasn't sent until after she called them. She continued to throw a hissy fit and tell me about how disrespectful I was and how I was being manipulated and manipulative for even asking her to not jump to the extreme. Granted, this wasn't the first time she had jumped to the extreme. In the past, when I was about 15, she handed me a... What? She handed me a knife and told me to end it when we had gotten into an argument. I'm gonna move right past that, but concerns and red flags. I had finally had enough of her treating me like a child and telling me that I was being disrespectful for setting a boundary. I told her that she was officially uninvited from my wedding and that I don't wish to speak to her again. Looking back on it now, I wish I hadn't really blown up at her, but at the same time, I feel like she wouldn't have heard me if I hadn't. For the past few months, I have not been talking to my mother. However, my sister has kept me updated on things that she has said about me. She has gone to my sister drunk multiple times and has vented about how ungrateful I am and how disrespectful I am, and how she did everything for me growing up. While yes, she was there for me, she wasn't always the greatest mother either. For Easter, she made me an Easter basket and wrote me a letter despite my asking for her not to contact me. The letter was rather lovely and was her saying how much she loved me. I didn't say anything to her, I didn't yell at her, I just kept silent for a few weeks. Yesterday, I decided to write a letter back. It was long-winded and probably unnecessary, but I felt like it would help to tell her how I felt about what she had done all my life. I did my best to be polite and I didn't accuse her of anything, just explained how things she has said or done have made me feel. I sent it home with my sister since my sister lives with my mother. This part is from my sister's point of view. She handed my mother a letter and asked her to sit down with her and read it. My mother blew up at her and stated that she wouldn't read something that was just going to paint her as a bad mother. My sister tried to calm her down and get her just to talk, and my mother pushed her. My sister immediately left my mother's house and came home with me. My mother then sent message after message to my sister. These are some of the points she said. I have no audacity to talk to her face to face. She claims she wasn't acting like a child despite her being the only one screaming and cussing. She refuses to listen to our worried comments about her needing to talk to a therapist and claims she's already talking to one. She claims she has apologized 1,000 times over, but I refuse to accept it. She is not apologizing anymore because she has apologized enough. Granted, these are just a small amount of what she said, but it still kind of hurts that my mother just won't listen to what I have to say. So, am I the a-hole for telling my mother she is no longer invited? No, I don't think you're an a-hole. I think your wedding day is about you and your relationship, and you're there to celebrate your love and that next chapter of life, and whoever you don't want there on that day is up to you. Your reasons, your personal business. I don't think you're an a-hole for not inviting her. But let me know your thoughts, you guys. I need your verdicts down in the comments. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.